Hold on. What they talking about? What the folks talking about? Huh? Look, but he gon' get that, 6 shots, make him get back. All that chit chat, riff rap, my niggas ain't into that. Nigga talking up, but he ain't on shit. I got like 50 rounds up in his clip. If I know the jump, nigga, I with the fit. Cause mommy still gon' love a kid, niggas tryna like.
The internet has been having a field day lately, and at the center of it all is none other than Cenat. The man who built a brand off loud energy, flashy streams, and endless flexes has now found himself caught in a storm that feels way bigger than any Twitch raid or subathon hype. And it's not just one controversy, it's not even two. The list keeps stacking, and every time it looks like the fire might die down, another L gets tossed on top like gasoline. At this point, the running joke online is that Kai isn't dodging drama, he's treating it like scheduled content. The latest wave hit when people started calling out the strange mix of shady behavior, broken promises, and half-hearted excuses that paint a way different picture of him than the one usually seen on stream. It all started with what should have been a fun, wholesome event, a Clash Royale tournament idea brought up by Jinxie. On paper, it sounded simple, a collab with AMP, a tournament that could have been fire, the kind of content that builds community and puts smaller streamers on the map. But what actually went down was anything but supportive. The moment Jinxie pitched it, the energy shift was undeniable. Instead of being hyped about the idea, Kai basically treated him like background noise. The man was sitting there in the room, trying to talk, trying to get his plan across, and it was like watching an NPC get ignored by the main characters. Every attempt to push the idea forward got met with silence or casual dismissals. Viewers caught the awkwardness in real time, spamming chat about the disrespect. And just when it couldn't get more brutal, Kai got up mid-call, dipped, and started an IRL stream like the conversation never even happened. The wild part about that moment was how obvious the power dynamic felt. Jinxie showed up with genuine excitement, hoping this collab could give him a push, and instead he got the cold shoulder. Chat wasn't blind either. The comments were flying faster than the gameplay, with people pointing out how uncomfortable it looked. Some even said it felt like Kai was deliberately brushing him off just to show who had the spotlight. That kind of treatment hits different when it's all happening live, because there's no editing, no hiding behind highlights, just raw disrespect for everyone to see. The vibe went from collaborative to dismissive in seconds, like Kai was telling the world, without words, that smaller creators didn't matter. Even the way he left mid-convo had people stunned, like how do you vanish into an IRL stream while someone's literally pitching an idea? It wasn't just careless, it came off like arrogance. The chat that day flipped from hype to awkward silence to straight-up clowning in record time. Clips started spreading instantly, pulling in even people who didn't watch the stream live, and everyone had the same reaction. Jinxie didn't just get ignored, he got embarrassed. And when moments like that circulate, they stick. They become receipts that get replayed whenever a new controversy hits, adding weight to the narrative that this isn't just one bad moment, it's part of a bigger pattern. For someone like Kai, whose entire career is built on energy and connection, brushing off a collab so openly wasn't just a bad look, it was a mask-off moment. No heads up, no courtesy, just ghosted a collab live in front of thousands. Jinxie, who had been hyping up this thing, posting flyers, and getting ready all day, was left sitting there on stream, looking like the kid who showed up to a party only to realize nobody else was coming. At one point, he even admitted he didn't know if the tournament would even happen anymore, before quietly signing off and saying he was going to the gym. That moment spread fast because it wasn't just embarrassing, it was painful. The power imbalance was on full display. Jinxie was left hanging on his own idea, while Kai bounced for content he found more interesting. Naturally, the backlash came crashing in. People weren't just upset about the ignored collaboration, they were furious about the pattern it revealed. Because this wasn't just one slip-up, The internet pulled receipts, laid out timelines, and started piecing together a bigger picture. And the narrative wasn't flattering. What really made the backlash sting was how quickly the internet connected the dots. Viewers weren't just reacting to one disrespectful stream moment, they were pulling out screenshots, old clips, and past controversies like they had been waiting for this. Every mistake that might have been brushed off before suddenly got thrown back into the spotlight. People started saying this wasn't Kai slipping up. This was Kai revealing who he really is when the cameras aren't perfectly aligned with his image. The Jinxie situation became a symbol. Proof that the way he treats smaller creators isn't about one off day, but about a bigger attitude problem. And once that narrative started trending, it was game over. Memes piled up, edits spread across Twitter and TikTok, and commentary channels had a field day. Even casual fans who never tuned into Kai's streams were suddenly aware of the drama, because the disrespect looked that blatant. It felt like a collective shift, where people decided this wasn't just cringe, it was a red flag. The narrative turned from Kai had a bad moment to Kai doesn't value collaboration unless it benefits him. That's a dangerous label in the streaming world, because collaboration is the lifeblood of the community. Once a creator gets tagged as selfish or fake, it's almost impossible to shake off. And the more people revisited past controversies, the harder it was to defend him. It's not that every fan turned on him overnight, but the seeds of doubt had been planted. And on the internet, seeds grow fast when they're watered by receipts and clipped out proof. Kai did what every big streamer does when the noise got too loud. He went into damage control mode. He popped up on stream acting confused, saying things like, "Wait, we were supposed to play?" and trying to paint it as some miscommunication. He even claimed Jinxie just ended the stream out of nowhere, like it wasn't his responsibility to actually show interest in the collab. Then he leaned into the whole "I feel bad" angle, talking about dedicating another day for it, promising it would still happen. But the internet wasn't buying it. The apology attempt was almost worse than the initial disrespect because it felt scripted and way too late. Viewers caught on to the fact that Kai only started talking once the L's in chat became impossible to ignore. Instead of owning up to the mistake, he tried spinning it into some weird misunderstanding, as if the entire internet hadn't just watched him dip mid-conversation. That's the problem with live stream culture. Nothing can be hidden, because clips spread faster than excuses. Saying Jinxie ended the stream out of nowhere made people roll their eyes since everyone had already seen the context. It wasn't about Jinxie ending the call. It was about Kai bailing first. Then, when he flipped into the "I feel bad" routine, the vibe was off. It didn't sound like remorse, it sounded like damage control. Promises about dedicating another day to make it right didn't land either, because people had receipts of how many times Kai pushed things off before. The community has become allergic to hollow promises, and that's exactly how this one came across. Even fans who usually defend him had trouble backing this excuse. Comment sections filled with people pointing out that the timeline didn't add up and that the so-called apology only came once his reputation started taking hits. If there's one thing the internet hates, it's apologies that look more like PR statements than accountability. And that's how this moment got locked in as another L. That apology didn't come off as genuine. It came off as scripted survival instinct. His chat had been spamming L's nonstop. His name was getting cooked on every platform. Pressure forced him to say something, not remorse. Because let's be real, if the backlash never hit, that apology would never have seen the light of day. And once viewers picked up on that, they started connecting dots. One of the biggest dots being the whole Mr. Beast Clean Water initiative, known as Team Water. Mr. Beast, love him or hate him, put together one of the most impactful internet-led charities ever. Over $8 million raised, millions of people worldwide given access to clean water, and dozens of creators stepping up in a big way. Logan Paul dropped $100,000. FaZe Banks and Trainwrecks put in six figures. Aiden Ross's stream alone promised over $2.3 million. And yet, when the donation list got combed through, the name Cenat was either missing completely or sitting there with the weakest effort imaginable. That's what made the silence from Kai stand out even more. When the whole internet comes together for something bigger than themselves, the ones who stay quiet end up looking selfish by default. Team Water wasn't some random GoFundMe. This was one of those rare moments where the entire creator community was united. From the biggest names down to smaller streamers, everyone wanted to be part of it. So when fans scrolled the leaderboard and didn't see Kai's name, the disappointment hit hard. This is the same guy constantly flexing subs, brand deals, and the crazy money that pours in from his streams. But when it came time to make a difference, the numbers didn't match the lifestyle. Seeing Logan Paul, a guy who's been clowned for years, drop six figures made people ask tough questions. If Logan Paul can do that without hesitation, then what's Kai's excuse? And when he finally did appear on the list, tossing in just $150, it wasn't seen as generosity, it was seen as trolling. People joked that he spent more on Uber Eats that same night than he donated to a cause that's literally saving lives. Memes spread calling it the stingiest flex of all time, and comparisons to other creators made the gap look even worse. This wasn't about money anymore, it was about priorities. Kai had the chance to silence critics with one move, to step up and prove he actually cared. But instead, he reinforced the image of someone who only moves when there's clout on the line. And once the internet locks onto that narrative, there's no spinning out of it. This is the same streamer who brags on camera about raking in absurd numbers every subathon, every brand deal, every stream. The same guy who flexes like money is just another piece of content. And when the chance came to put that money where it mattered, he went quiet. At first, nothing. No donation, no shout out, no word. Then, after the call out started, after people noticed the absence, he tossed in a measly $150. The man who constantly shows off how much he makes per stream donated less than what many small streamers threw in just to be part of the movement. The internet dragged him. Memes popped up overnight. Kai when it's fireworks versus Kai when it's poor people. Kai burning stacks for chaos but quiet when it's about clean water. The silence was loud and the optics were brutal because while others were dropping hundreds of thousands, Kai's move felt stingy, revealing, and completely off-brand for someone who constantly flexes wealth. The roasting was relentless, and the worst part was how creative the internet got with it. Side-by-side memes showed Kai casually dropping thousands on fireworks just to blow them up for laughs, compared to the bare minimum he gave to a cause actually changing lives. People pointed out that this wasn't even about being generous, it was about basic decency. And Kai failed the test spectacularly. His reputation as a streamer who loves to flex luxury and success made the donation look even more insulting. It wasn't just that he gave so little, it was that he gave so little while constantly bragging about how much money he has. The contrast couldn't have been louder. Viewers dragged up old clips of him flashing stacks of cash and then lined them up with the Team Water leaderboard, where his name looked microscopic. It became a running joke that Kai spent more on designer fits for a week than he was willing to put toward clean drinking water. Even casual fans who never cared about his flexing started saying it looked gross. This wasn't just a bad look, it was a full-blown reputation hit, because the message was clear. When it comes to chaos and clout, there's always money on the table. But when it comes to causes that don't boost the brand, suddenly the wallet is locked shut. And that's why the silence hit so much harder. It wasn't just about missing numbers, it was about exposing values. It got even more embarrassing when Aiden Ross publicly called him out. Aiden, who is far from the internet's moral compass, straight up said if Kai donated $400,000, he'd match it. That's the kind of challenge that exposes everything. If money really isn't an issue like Kai loves to suggest, then why hesitate? This was a cause that had no downside. Help people in need, prove critics wrong, and stand next to other creators making history. Instead, Kai stayed quiet. And people didn't forget his past promises either. The Nigerian schools, the big $20,000 plan to build opportunities in Africa, a project that never materialized. Viewers lined that up against his refusal to step up for Team Water, and the conclusion was obvious. If someone can't even follow through on a $20,000 promise, what makes anyone think he'd suddenly donate $400,000 for clean water? As if that wasn't enough, the fire grew hotter when XQC jumped in with his own accusations. This time not about donations, but about Kai's crew. Reggie and Rakai, two names Kai has boosted hard, were suddenly under suspicion for viewbotting. And the numbers didn't lie. Streams that used to pull around 1,000 viewers suddenly spiked to 60,000 in one day. Engagement rates sat at around 20%, way lower than what's normal for genuine audiences. Sub counts didn't match the live viewers. It was fishy, and XQC laid out the receipts. The receipts XQC brought forward had people doing double takes. A jump from 1,000 to 60,000 viewers overnight isn't just suspicious, it's unheard of unless something artificial is in play. And the internet doesn't let numbers like that slide. Fans started comparing chat activity to actual viewership, and the mismatch was glaring. When 60,000 people are supposedly tuned in but only a tiny fraction are engaging, it feels less like hype and more like smoke and mirrors. Clips of the streams showed chats moving at the speed you'd expect from a couple thousand viewers at best, not tens of thousands. Even sub counts didn't line up. How can someone have barely 100 live viewers 1 week, then somehow pull 4,000 subs while their streams spike in views? The math just wasn't mathing. What made it worse was Kai's response. Instead of calmly addressing the numbers or suggesting an explanation, he went straight into emotional defense mode. He backed Reggie and Rakai like they were beyond suspicion, refusing to even consider that something strange might be happening. That ride or die loyalty might sound noble, but in this case, it came across as naive. The sad part is that Kai's actual numbers are massive. He doesn't need viewbots, and he's proved time and again that his platform is legitimate. But by brushing off the accusations with pure emotion instead of evidence, he made himself look worse. It's one thing to defend friends, it's another to ignore glaring inconsistencies and turn every criticism into XQC is jealous. By this point, Kai was sitting on back-to-back disasters. First, the Jinxie collab flop, ignored until the backlash forced an apology. Then the Team Water controversy, where donations from everyone else highlighted his silence, making him look greedy and fake. Add in the broken promise about schools in Nigeria and the suspicion swirling around his crew, and the pattern is impossible to ignore. Kai only reacts when the internet turns on him. When there's no backlash, he stays quiet, and when there's no clout to be gained, he doesn't move. And that's where the whole fake side narrative comes in. Because fans aren't just disappointed in the specific controversies. They're seeing a larger picture of someone who flexes wealth, hypes up loyalty, and plays the part of community leader on camera, but crumbles when it comes to genuine accountability or giving back. The performance is polished, but the actions tell another story. And right now, that story is looking uglier by the day. It feels like a turning point, where the mask slipped and people are finally saying out loud what's been building for a while. Kai Cenat's fake side isn't some internet reach. It's a pattern built on receipts, timelines, and actions that don't match the hype. and the internet is watching closely to see what happens next. And right now, Kai isn't looking like the king of Twitch. He's looking like someone stacking controversies faster than content, hoping each apology buys him enough time until the next one rolls in. And that wraps it up. If this breakdown hit the spot, make sure to like, subscribe, and drop a comment with thoughts about Kai's latest controversies. Is this just another internet cycle? Or is his fake side finally catching up with him? Stay tuned, because the internet is never short on receipts.